All right, bro. We are live, Charles. We are live. Everything should be going on now.
I was waiting for that legit startup music.
Oh
That gets me
shoot,
that
the
gets me
little
going.
timer thing.
Yeah.
Well, we got 5 minutes. I can still play that right when it hits 7 o'clock. All
Nah,
right.
it's all
How
good,
about we
man.
do that right now? We're just kind of doing like a pre-show, to where we come
Yeah.
on before 7 o'clock, and then right at 7, maybe I could put that little timer on since that kind of gets you going. Yeah, you like that, huh?
Nah,
I'll
it's
do that.
always just like, especially when we were doing it in the morning, it was just like, oh, okay, get a little something real quick.
Yeah. Let me just do this real quick. And then hopefully everybody hears us okay. And then, we can kind of just go from there. If they don't hear us okay, or if anything like that, hopefully they could let us know in the comment section. And then we could fix before, it gets too crazy.
No, I think it should be good because the last time, the last few of them you guys have been doing when I wasn't on. There's been some, kind of some weird sounds on your mic. At
My
least it
mic.
was
It's
always,
always my
yeah,
mic.
but it wasn't before. What happened? Like, oh, because you ain't got that big one. Where's your boom mic at? Where's your big one? The one that came over.
I took the boom mic away because I don't know, man, it got too complicated. I got lazy.
Mm,
I got lazy. That's what it is. And 'cause you gotta set everything up. It's still here, to be honest, it's still
mm,
here. It's just I just plug this thing in, and I feel like this one, it gets rid of more noise. Because for some reason,
yeah.
when I had that boom mic on, it was creating so much fuss, and um it was creating a lot of unwanted noise, and I didn't really like that.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's why. That's all, man. But besides that, though, man, how's your week going so far, bro?
Pretty good, pretty good. Went down to the Bay earlier this week. Did an inspection out there, and mostly just been working, man. Just been working. Everything's been pretty busy. No, it's been good. It's got a lot of good interactions with clients and real estate agents. So no, it's been good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good, bro. Keeping yourself busy. I know. It's about to be what, daylight saving next week,
Hmm.
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think around the 20th or so. I think it's right
Yep.
around then.
Hmm. All right, bro. I'm gonna put the countdown on. We're gonna start. All right.
All right.
All right, bro. We're back.
We're back.
That music was a little different.
It was. It
I
was.
think I don't know. I didn't change anything, so I think
I think it's built in.
Uber.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
think
that they have it. Yeah.
we changed it. But all right, welcome back, Chi Chi fans. We're back. I know it's been a minute. The last time we were here, right, was what, February-ish, beginning of February. It's been busy. A lot of people's been looking. We've been out. Charles, you heard, he's been out inspecting homes. I've been out showing homes, all of that. But we're back today. We got some stuff to talk with you guys about. There's been a lot going on. Been a lot going on. But first, let's just do a quick market update. See what the stats look like, the trends, the sales, all of that. Because I haven't seen it for today at least. So we'll go over that. We'll go over mortgage rates. There's no Lisa today. Just me, Charles, and then a guest. We'll let the guest do the introduction later when we bring him on. But yeah, just do a quick market update real quick, and then we'll get this show on the road. All right, listings for sale, sold, pending, new. Look at that chart. It's picking back up. Inventory is picking back up. You see how it was up all the way up here, went down, it's going. We're not quite up there yet. So, all right, from last week, we went up in inventory by 3%. New listings are up almost 20% from last week. A lot of homes are hitting the market again. Sold homes is up from last week, 24%. Pending homes are also up 2%. Okay, that's from last week. Now, comparing to last month, we have 12% more increase of inventory this month than we did last month. Okay, new listings is also up. Look at that, 70% new listings. God, everybody like just waited. Like everybody knows that there's income tax coming in, buyers are gonna be in the market again, weather's gonna be nice again. So all the sellers are like, let's wait, put the home back on the market now. It's great weather again. So that's what you see right here. Almost 70% from last month. Sold home is down though. 40, almost 45% from last month. Pending home is up 13%. You guys already know pending ends up being sold or back into inventory. All right. Same time last year, we have 27% more inventory this year than we did last year in March. New listing is down though. So see, this seems like a lot. But look, last year, we had 18% less listings this month than we did last year, same month. And sold home is down 57% this year than it was last year, but pending home is up 6%. Okay. This one is still only like 3 months in, so we're not going to go over the year to date yet. Not enough data. But let's go over here. Average price per square foot. It's up 6% from last week. No change from last month. No change. And look, no change from last year. Now look at that. No change. Okay. Let's go over days on the market. Average days on the market this week was 53 days. Last week was 35 days. Okay. So 54% change. Last month, no change. Similar. Okay. Last year, six days, 7 days, 5 days faster last year, same time. So 35% increase this year than last. And for sale and sold, look at that chart. Active price this week is down by 0.3, not a lot. Sold price is down 2% from last week. But look, this month, active price is down 1.5% from last month, but sold price is up 7% from last month. Everything's picking back up. And last year, look, 2% increase from last year, same time. All right. 11% decrease from last year on active price. But you guys hear me say it all the time. Active price is not as important as sold price because that's going to be considered a true comp for your home if you're thinking about selling. Okay, so sold homes, it is up this year. All right. Now, go over the month's worth of inventory. And it's going up. It's going up. It says 4.7, but again, with inventory, it's only the beginning of the month, so it's gonna say that. But once it gets more towards like 2.5 weeks, it'll start trickling down to what's the real number. I'd say it's probably closer to like 2.6, or if not, maybe a little bit bigger, but not 4.7 month worth of inventory. We don't have that much inventory. Okay, so this data is a little bit skewed. So don't believe in that. And again, it's still a seller's market. Well, under 3 months worth, it needs to be more consistently until the market starts to shift. All right. For now, seller's market, again, ignore this. If I could block it out, I would. But you guys kind of get the gist. Okay. It's about probably 2.6 months worth of inventory. What is going on, Irv Green? Do you see interest rates going down a lot more in the next few months? Well, I'll answer that in a bit. Ada, where you been, Ada? How you been? You guys remember Charles?
It's been so long.
Been so long. I don't even know you remember Ada and them. Actually, you know what? It was when you were still at Cap Pro.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been a minute, dude. So I don't know if she remembers you.
Okay.
But let me just go over the mortgages, okay? Irv, hopefully this will answer your question since we're on the topic of your questions anyways. Here's today's rates, y'all. Conventionals at 6.7 and FHA's at 6.1. Jumbo loans is at 6.9. VA is at 6.15. And adjustable rates at 6.3. So that's the rates for you guys. And to answer your question, Irv Green, dude, I hear that interest rates might be going up. Just because with everything that's going on right now in the world, it's crazy times right now. And kind of like what somebody mentioned earlier, before we went live, how the president's starting argument with all these all these leaders in different countries. So that's not going to look good for the economics, for the economy. So yeah, I'll just let that sink in. Okay, I mean, I hope they go down, but do you really want them to go down though, Irv Green? Because if they go down, competition is going to be up. I mean, unless you already bought a home and then you're a homeowner, then competition is good because that means your home is going to appreciate like crazy, right? So that's good. But if you're selling, you're going to get high dollar for your home. That's great too. But if you're buying, then it's going to be competitive again. Remember Rona days? Rona days, we were standing in line to go look at homes. It was like Six Flags waiting for the Medusa ride, Charles. For reals. And this is just to go see
Definitely.
homes, so it was crazy. So I don't know if you want rates to go up. I mean, go down that much. I mean, for refinance purposes, it might be cool. Again, that's more homeowner already, right? But if you're a buyer, then a lot of buyers don't really want that competition. But buyers do want that low rate though. So again, you gotta kind of juggle and pick your poison at that rate, you know. If you have a credit score of over 800 for a 30-year fix, how much of a difference does it actually make to have a good credit? So, I'm not a lender. I wish Lisa was here, but god dang it, she ain't here. So I'm sorry. Let me just kind of give you guys kind of like a little estimate, okay? So here, I just kind of Googled it. A lot of times, oh man, they didn't even do it here. You know what? Give me a second, okay? I promise you, I'm gonna answer your question. All right, let me just kind of give you like a little rundown, all right? So that way you kind of have an idea. Oh man, it doesn't even have it here too. Okay, never mind. This one has it. Okay, here you go. Okay, mortgage calculator. Okay, so let's say you're doing a purchase. Okay, let's just say in this case it's $400,000. All right. If your credit score is at 740 and no 800, right? You say 800? Okay, 800. Is they even changing the numbers? It's not, huh? Why is it not changing it? Here, let me see this real quick. Monthly now is 23. Let's go here. Dude, it ain't changing nothing. $2,000.
I think that's just for the lenders down there.
Ah, darn it. It ain't even changing. Wait.
Yeah, I think that's just for the lenders at the bottom.
Oh, it is. It is. Okay, this is fine. It'll just kind of give you an idea, but of course, confirm with the actual lender. I am not a lender. Okay, disclaimer. I don't hold any license to do loans. I'm just a real estate agent. You want to buy or sell? Call me. Loans? Don't even think about calling me. All right. I'll shoot you in the right direction, but I'm not gonna do it for you. But this is just for demonstration purposes, so you get an idea. So let's say $400,000. Okay, purchase. Your score is 7 or 800, like what you're asking here. It's about $1,900, give or take, right? And let's just say it's in the 700s. See how it jumped up to $2,000 right there? Honestly, that's how much rates kind of affect payments. And then you're probably thinking, man, that's like under $100. Yeah, I know, right? So what I'm basically saying is, if you could qualify for a loan, you don't need to have the perfect score. You guys hear, I mean, I don't want to sound like an infomercial here, but hey, low credit score, we could qualify you. They really mean it, because nowadays, it's a seller's market. Banks' biggest product right now is selling you a mortgage. So even though your score is low, like 640-ish, like they would give you a loan. And again, you're not going to have that much advantage over somebody with the over 800 credit score, like you're asking, especially if you're a first time home buyer. Okay. When it does matter the most is when you're actually using that money to invest. Let's say hard money, private finance, things like that. Your credit score matters a lot more. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question. I mean, if Lisa comes next week, she could correct me. But as far as I know, that's my take on credit score. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Irv Green. Yes, with a market like this, it's hard for new buyers and people who wants to buy a second home. So much harder to make any purchases. I feel like with everything, is really not in helping majority of us. I know how you feel, Ada. It is tough, but I always like to be optimistic. If you focus on your goal, like let's say it's buying a second home, right? Find out from a lender how what it takes to buy a second home, and then start strategizing. Like people that call Lisa will give them strategies like, hey, if you rent your first home out, because obviously you can't live in two homes at once, right? Rent the first home out, use some of that rental income as your income so you can qualify for a bigger loan, and then use that loan to offset your debt. Then you can buy a second home. So there's a lot of strategies out there that could work for you. But again, I'm not a lender. So you need to talk to like a person like Lisa to give you these strategies, right? So that's what I would say. It is tough, but hang in there. All right. Nothing good comes easy, Ada. Nothing good comes easy. So if you want that second home, it is definitely doable. All right. Thanks for the question. All right. Now, today we're going to bring on our guest. His name is Leo. And you know what? He's here right now. I'll just let him. I'm not going to do the introduction for him. All right. Leo.
Hey, how's it going, Shia?
What's up, man? Did we keep you waiting long, bro?
No, you're very informative.
Well, before I let you go, maybe I should let Charles go, huh? How did you two meet?
Man, so about that, no. We were both working for another company before, and the owner of the company, wanted to expand to do termite inspections and whatnot. So, he was interviewing some different, termite operators and whatnot. And so basically through his interviewing process, Leo came along, and the rest is kind of history. We worked together at that other company for like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
And then we've been doing this together for almost 2 now. So yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
kind
you guys are partners in Trifecta.
definitely, yes.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I think
So
Leo, I've always heard of you when you guys were at the other company, but I've never met you until Trifecta.
Yeah, so I was behind the scenes there because by the time you were around or stuff, I was in the back. I'm the operator of the termite company. So basically, what that means is you kind of own and operate the actual business model of the company. So I didn't do many inspections for them at the tail end. started with them, and then did most of the work the first year, and then kind of went in the back and started hiring people, and then basically did all the training and stuff toward the end. So I didn't see a whole lot of people there. So when me and Charles, ventured off on our own, now it's just us, and now I'm out there doing all the inspections. So meeting all the new agents. I didn't know a whole lot of agents at the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. So now I'm meeting all the agents and knowing, all those names that you see the names on the computer, but you never got to see their faces. And it's kind of cool to be out there, working with everybody.
Yeah, man, it's funny how you said that. Right now that you're out there with all the inspections, you make it sound like it's such a like you prefer to be back doors behind the scenes again.
I like to build a company. That's what I did at the other company. You start from scratch. You'll build it up enough to where then it starts to be self-sustaining.
Yeah,
That's our plan.
At, huh?
Yeah, that's my strength. So that's our plan with this business model, is to be, self-sustaining. So, but I've been in the termite world for 30 years. So I've been doing inspections a long time. So crawling under a house at 50 years old is not the business.
You're not 50 years old.
I turned 50 in 2 months.
Holy moly, bro! What the heck?
Yeah. And the knees aren't as good as they used to be. So, that's why
you use that drone that Charles uses, man.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, termites just got to go in there. Yeah.
Yeah, termites are a little different. We actually got to poke stuff and stuff. So we got to use our eyes. So a lot of customers will be like, hey, just, in certain areas, Charles will use the little RC car under a house, and he can see some things that, maybe you can't see if it's like a really narrow spot, but like for the, the license and the business model of the termite world, we have to go under there and get eyes on stuff and make sure that we're not missing anything that's could be seen. The camera is great and all, and it's really good and convenient for something when you're not really trying to micromanage the house. But like with termites, you got to look in the cracks and crevices. So you got to really see sometimes up in an area where a camera might not be able to get to. So.
And when you go and inspect these homes, right, if there's any termite activity, what are your recommendations for anything like that?
So that's a tricky thing for agents, because a lot of agents will be like, hey, is it live activity? Like, did you see the termites? You got to realize that, like, in the world of termites, and there's also beetles under the house, and drywood termites, they do show themselves, to eventually to somebody. But like when you're under a house, if you see a tube, which is, I don't know if Charles has any pictures up, but if you see any, like, they kind of look like a little pencil tube. They go up like the foundation. They look like a little dirt clod, and they kind of run up and down the tube. So as a termite inspector, you're not supposed to break those up and look for live termites, because if you do break them up, and then you see a live termite, they might run back into the sub area, and then another company might come and say, hey, they're not live. So anytime that you do an inspection, you just see activity. So if you see activity for a termite, what I like to say is, if you see termite activity on a house and it hasn't been treated in the last year to 2 years, it needs to be treated, because you don't know if it's active or not.
So you said you can't go and break the tunnels. You got to treat it. How do you treat these then?
So there's 2 different types of termites that we are prevalent here in Sacramento. We have drywood termites and we have subterranean termites. So the ones that are on the picture right now are subterranean termites, are the ones in the middle. That's a little dirt tube. So when you see those, that's a liquid treatment. So basically you trench and treat around the foundation, around the pier post, underneath the house, any entry point that can be in, like in a garage, concrete slab, you'll drill a hole with a router bit, and then you inject the chemical with a high pressure rig, 100 PSI, 150 PSI, and you shoot that into the ground. It basically leaves, you're treating like a barrier. You're trying to barrier around the entire foundation wall so the termites can't come up. And then these ones right here on the right, those are drywood termites. So when you see little pebbles like that, or you're a windowsill or something like that, those are the ones you have to fumigate for. So you'll see the tarps on the houses, big tarps in the houses, because the difference is drywood termites live in the actual wood. And then that's where their home is, and that's where they make their colony, is inside the wood. So they don't have to go into the soil. With subterranean termites have to go in the soil, get back to they'll go up, they'll go is a long. I mean, termites are small, right? So a termite can go hundreds of feet away from their home, go eat that little piece of wood on your house, and then he's got to take that little piece of wood all the way back to home, and they just keep going back and forth. It's like a freeway, and that's how the subterraneans work. They live in the soil. Where dry woods, they just live in the actual wood. So you can have an infestation in like your windowsill, and that could be the main source of the infestation, and then it grows from there. But they don't have to go anywhere.
Question: why would a home, let's say from it being new to it being over 30 years old, why would a home attract termites like this?
Well, the homes don't attract termites. The problem is hundreds and thousands of years ago, this was all trees. Sacramento, city of trees, right? It was all trees, no houses, right? And termites eat old, basically dead wood. So when the root system under the ground and stuff, that's what they feast on, old dead tree root systems. And termites don't have eyes or anything; they don't know where they're going. And so they just kind of randomly, aimlessly walk throughout the soil, and then we tore down all their food, so now we built houses. So they find our houses. And they eat our houses instead of the trees that they were made to eat. So termites back, millions of years ago were made to, a tree falls down, they ate it, and that's how they got rid of it. That was the equal site of life for a termite. And now we have houses, so now they're eating our houses.
So are you saying only California have this issue?
No, well, all of the United States has the issue except for up north. Like when it gets to be cold, like you don't have termites up there like North Dakota, South Dakota, stuff like that. Subterranean termites are everywhere. They're more prevalent in moisture areas. So subterranean termites are, they're even bigger in like the South, like in Louisiana, those type of areas. The termites are probably 3-4 times the size they are here. But subterranean termites live in the soil, so they're all over. Drywood termites now, they only can basically live in they're in our area, they're the coast. So if you go like the coast of like up above San Francisco, all the way through the coast, and it goes all the way down into LA, and because they like cool areas. So the reason that you don't see a lot of drywood termites in Sacramento is because drywood termites love to eat the wood, right? But they can't withstand the heat. So a lot of drywood termites will be in the attic where there's no sun in the Bay Area, because the attics probably stay 75, 80 degrees year round. So it's perfect breeding grounds for them. Here in Sacramento, attic could get 130 degrees, 140 degrees, and termites can't live that long. So I think don't quote me on this, but I think it's around 120 degrees for like 5-10 minutes and a termite would die.
What? Really?
The drywood termites. Yeah. I used to do heat treatments back in the day. That used to be a way we used to kill them. Back 15 years ago at another company I worked for. So you learn a little bit about the reason that drywoods can die from just heat. You don't need to fumigate them with chemical as much as you can heat them also. Heat just does a lot of damage to the house because it'll melt your vinyl and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And if there's like tunnels like what you mentioned here, or any subterranean termites and all that, how does it is there like a certain threshold to where you don't want it to exceed, or to where you should pay attention to more, react right away? Or is there like a certain threshold to where now it's like too severe and you can't do anything about it no more? Like,
well, I've seen houses where the wall's gone. Like you tear the sheetrock off the house and all the studs are just eaten, right? So you have to repair.
Shoot.
So in that case, you're repairing it, right? So you do a treatment, will kill off the termites, but then you may have some structural damage you have to do. Termites do about $5 billion in damage a year in the world, like basically. So
one time I showed a house. Okay, let me just share a story real quick before I lose my train of thought. One time I showed this house, and the sellers kept telling us that they have to change the curtain rods in their bathroom every couple of weeks. And we're like, why? And she's like, I don't know. It just won't hold up. We did a termite inspection on that, found out there was termite tunnels inside the walls that was eating away at the studs. So every time, whenever she drilled new holes in, she was drilling it to like a soft spotted stud, and it wasn't even holding the curtain rod. And so every 2 weeks, it would just fall down.
Yeah, you can see like this picture on the far left, top far left right there. That's basically termites eating the wood, and they leave nothing left. I mean, they don't. Termites are small, so they're not doing damage like they're. I mean, here in California, they're not doing damage to where like they're going to eat your house in 1 day or 1 hour or
How
one
long does it take
year.
for it to?
So, I mean, it depends on the severity of the infestation, right? So if you have a really bad infestation, they can eat a lot, but like roughly they'll eat like maybe 2 to 6 inches of a 2x4 in a year, like a normal colony. So if you kind of say, so I'd say about, 4-inch 2x4,
Yeah.
they can eat about that. A normal colony is going to eat about that much wood in a year. So normally when you get to these houses that have a lot of infestation or a lot of damage, they've had termites for 20, 30, 40 years. Nobody's just ever done an inspection on it to find them.
So here's my next question then. Walking into a home, you don't see anything wrong with the home. How would you know that the home has termite like this if it was just remodeled or whatever, or not remodeled, but
painted, just painted, right? They cover up over it, so you don't.
Yeah.
Like that's why you need a professional to come do an inspection for you. And I always recommend at least once a year, no more than once every 2 years, you want to do an inspection, because what happens is the termites will eventually show themselves. Like when you freshly paint a house, you could be painting over holes, entry holes or anything that you can't see it. So, but they'll always show themselves. They're eventually always going to show themselves. Termites don't, I mean, studs are dug fir. It's a little bit harder wood, so they don't eat it as fast as like a pine. So you'll find a lot of termites near windowsills and stuff because those windowsills are made out of pine. It's soft wood. It's easier for them to digest. So they'll eat it faster. So you'll see them in those areas a lot quicker. And then, like you said, with a new house, slab, stucco, I mean, it's really difficult to find it. You don't find it until normally they've done enough damage to where they're going to swarm. So,
what is that, Leo?
That's what I was just going to say, Charles. If you can throw a picture up there of a swarmer, just put subterranean swarmer, and then this is what you're going to see in your house right here, middle. Right there, that one right. I can't even. These little black guys with long wings. There they go, right there. Click on that picture right there. That first picture. So that's a swarmer. So that's the one that you just clicked on.
This one right here? Oh, okay.
No, just that one right there. That second one. That one right there. So that's a swarmer. They're black. Two body parts, head and a long body. The wings are about twice as long as the body. They're translucent. You can see their wings. So they kind of look like ants a little bit. You'll see those flying around, and what you're going to see. This is the time of year where they're out. Spring is the season for swarmers. So this is what you're going to see in the next, I would say, from now till about May. If you have a termite problem, these are how they show you that you have termites. It's kind of like a red flag. And then you'll say, okay, well, I see something's flying around. You'll see them around your windows. You'll see them around your lights. And then you just kind of say, oh, well, that's something different. And so if you're seeing something like that, then you need to get a professional out there to look at your house and do an inspection and make sure that it's taken care of.
Oh.
And to fact check you on that whole driveway termite temperature thing, you're right. It's 120 to 140 degrees for a heat treatment, and then 35 minutes. So yeah, attics.
Well, the 35 minutes is like how they kill them, though, right? They really only can live for about 5 to 7 minutes at 140 degrees, right? So you hold it for 35 minutes, so you kill the whole entire colony. But yeah, and then and especially with the heat treatment, you kill. It's not just the air heat of 140 degrees; it's the actual temperature of the wood. So it's the middle core of the wood. It gets up to 120 degrees, and that's what kills them off.
So just like you said, basically, since it's 1,000,000 degrees in these attics all the time, that's the reason why it's such a problem. It's not an issue here in this area, but in those other climates in the Bay Area and all that coastal, that's why it's more likely to happen over there.
Yeah, you'll Bay Area. I've seen some houses that are fumigated every 4 or 5 years in the Bay Area. So another thing, Chia, termites. What happens is these little swarmers. I'll tell you the anatomy of a termite. So these two little swarmers They'll fly. They leave their colony and they're going to look for a new home. That's why you'll find them, because they're out flying around. They only last about a minute in the air. Then they'll shed their wings and then they'll fall down, hook up, mate, and then they try to make another colony. That's the digestion of what they're trying to do as a thing. So what they'll do, and so when those two mate and then they go down in the wood or go down in the soil, subterraneans in the soil, drywood's in the wood, they'll go and mate. They'll go they'll make their little home, and then it could take up to about 7 years before that colony is even mature enough to make swarmers. Oh. So that's why it's hard that's why termites aren't found till later along in the life cycle, because it takes about 7 years for that colony to be big enough to produce swarmers for you to see in your house. So sometimes you'll find if say you have a brand new house, it's a year old, and you find a little tube going up the foundation, probably not done a whole lot of damage in there because it's brand new, and then the house hasn't been built long enough for them the anatomy to make the colony and do all that stuff. So,
but you should still treat it though, right?
Yeah, anytime you find termites, you should treat it. You should definitely treat it. I mean, you could do a treatment. A lot of new homes that are built, a lot of builders will have a pre-treatment. That's why if you do buy a new home, that's one thing that you should ask your builder, is if they do a pre-treatment on the foundation. So what they'll do is when they dig off the foundation, they'll treat the soil an hour or so before it's poured. So then it's treated and then it's poured, and then you got basically
I don't think any new builds that I know of right now is doing that.
Well, I know some of them do. So they do. And that's the thing. It's like, if you do buy a new build, you can always ask for that also. And they add it on before, because the best thing to do is get that chemical down before the concrete's down, because when your concrete's down and then you find termites, you're drilling a hole every 12 inches, depending on what chemical you're using, every 12 to 24 inches. And then you're spraying blind under the concrete.
Yeah.
Basically, right? It depends if the dirt isn't level. If it's not level and you have galleys and stuff like that, the chemical could just sit in one area, and you could be just pouring chemical into nothing, so it's not, and that's why slabs are a little bit harder to control the area. So, but crawl spaces are the best, because, you can see the whole, both sides of the foundation. You can get a good treatment around the whole house.
So preventative measures. Even for a new home, you still recommend them to do treatments every year or every 2 years?
Well, it wouldn't be a treatment. It would just be an inspection. Basically, you do an inspection every 2 years just to make sure. And it's not just like since we're in the real estate world, right? It's a wood destroying organism inspection. So you're not only looking for termites, you're looking for dry rot, you're looking for moisture damage, you're looking for leaks. There's all kinds of different things that are found when you're doing a termite inspection. It's like a baby home inspection, I guess you can say, for just the bug part of the world, but for the bug part of the world. So you're looking for those types of things. So humidity, leaks, make sure the soil's dry. There's all kinds of things you're looking for as a termite inspector to prevent, because here's the thing. So if you have an older house and you have a crawl space, a lot of people that do repairs on a house, they may just throw the old wood under the house and it just lays on the ground. It just lays on the ground. So termites, get into that a lot quicker. And then
I didn't even think about that. There's been so many times Charles would go underneath the house and there's all these debris in there. Oh man. Okay. I didn't even think about
That's why we always recommend to remove it, because it's sitting directly on the soil. So it's cellulose debris. So it's right there, ready for them to come right up and get it. Where at least the foundation, everything else that's supporting the home is sitting on concrete. They're going to make their way up it anyway. But I mean, if it's sitting right on the soil, then it's right there.
Yeah, then you're just opening up the floodgates for them to come into your home. Oh, is there any bonds or warranty available for these kind of treatments, or?
So there's difference. So when you have there's two different types of things you can do. A lot of companies do it. We offer this, and a lot of the bigger companies offer this. You can actually get a termite inspection protection plan. It's a protection plan. So if you have an inspection by a company, most companies, I wouldn't say every company does this, but a lot of them do. You have an inspection, and if they don't find any signs of termites, you can pay a monthly or a yearly fee, and that warranties if you ever get termites in the future that we come out and treat it for no cost. So it's very minor compared to what you might have to cost to do an inspection for the subterranean termite. So a subterranean termite
Do
treatment.
you guys offer it at Trifecta?
Yeah, we do offer it, and it's termite treatment ranges from about $1,000 to $3,000 depending on how big the house is. So it just depending on how big your house is, right? So the warranty is $200 a year. And if you, like I said, but like you said, if you have an older house, it's perfect because you're eventually going to get them. Something that someone taught me a long time ago. There's two types of houses: houses that are going to have termites, or houses that are going to get termites. I mean, that's the only two types of houses there are. So,
do you want to bring up that comment, Chia?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
So that's not necessarily 100% true.
Where I am now, we pay an annual inspection to termite companies for annual treatment and inspection. Small fee of $200, $300 for peace of mind. If termite companies miss it, they have insurance to cover it.
That's exactly what I just said. So that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So it ranges from $200 to $300. Most companies do it, and then you get the inspection every year. And if you ever get termites, you just got to realize what each company is going to do for you. Most companies, if you get termites, they're going to come out and locally treat the area where the termites are at. Some companies will come out and do a full treatment of the entire house. We come out and do a full treatment of the entire house. So where some companies will just come out for the $300, and then if you get termites in one, spot on the side of the house, they'll come out there and just throw a little chemical in that one corner, and that's it. But if they're in that one spot, they're probably in multiple spots. That's why you want to do a full house treatment. Doing a local treatment is like putting a Band-Aid on an open wound.
Yee, I have a question for you since you put a comment here. You say you do an annual inspection. Where do you live? Is your home like a newer home, older home, slab foundation, or like a crawl space foundation? I am curious why you get it every year, or what triggered you to get it every year.
Well, before Yi tells you that back, Chia, that's just part of the plan. That's what you get for the $300 or $200. So if you paid us the $200 and something every year, you come out and do an inspection and you look for things. And then if you find termites, so that's just part of that warranty. It's not that he has an inspection. It's just the company will call you and say, hey, it's time for your annual inspection. Yeah. You pay your $200 or whatever it is. You pay that money, that inspection's scheduled, and then you go out and do an inspection. And then if you find and then because here's the thing, if you just paid $300 and nobody ever came and inspected the house, you could be paying $300 for 7 years, and you could have had termites the entire time.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
The thing that's really important too is having an inspection right. It's having that warranty right. It's one thing that's good about that is if anything's found, then we can do a treatment. But the other good thing about that is if you have somebody looking at your crawl space every single year, then they're also going to be looking for those other things that are part of that WDO inspection,
etc., foundation, all that.
Exactly. So anything that's wood destroying, right? So any of those insects, the rot, any of that, Arkansas. So any of that stuff is what's going to be looked at. But the most important thing is once we pull this picture up, you'll see this house probably hasn't been inspected in 10, 15, who knows how many years, and that's what's the result of that.
Yeah, like I was saying, Chia, that he's from Arkansas. That's the South. It's almost mandatory to have a termite policy in the South because termites are so prevalent down there.
Oh, man.
He just said it's mandatory to have a termite policy when you buy the property. Yeah, because the bank doesn't want the house to be eaten up. So the bank's like, we're going to have to add that policy for you.
That makes sense. That's just like right now with California, right? Oh, you've been flooded before? No, you ain't got new pipes or we ain't going to give you the insurance. So, oh man, that makes sense. Arkansas, okay, just like what you said. Okay. Shoot, Leo, you know your stuff.
like I said, I've been doing it for a really long time.
Shoot, he better 30 years. Dang.
I know. I was just gonna say, these are all test questions.
This has been my only job. I turned 20 years old and got into the bug business, and then decided, hey, the bug business is pretty lucrative, and I'm not going to be a school teacher like I thought I was going to be. So the bug business has kind of helped me raise my family, and it's been really nice.
So this is what I'm curious about too. Chang said it, right? can you just spray to kill the termites around the house? Like, why hire somebody like Leo with 30 years experience? I can just go to Walmart and get one of those kill bug sprays.
Well, it's different. I mean, I guess if you knew what you were doing, you can probably do that. But the problem is the chemical you're going to buy at Walmart ain't nowhere near the chemical that a company's going to be able to purchase. It's going to be diluted.
Is it true? Is it true? Before I lose my train of thought, those sprays that consumers buy, is that like a hecka watered down version of what commercial guys use?
Well, it's not. It might have. You'd have to check to see if it has the active ingredient. The active ingredient in termiticide is fipronil. So it might have fipronil in it. I've never looked. I've never went to Home Depot and bought termiticide because I can buy the good stuff. So it might have the stuff in there. It's probably going to be super diluted. The other issue is you can't just spray it. You have to it has to be attached to the soil. So you need to make a little you need to drench it. It ain't just like when you kill bugs like ants and spiders, your guy's going to come out and he's going to throw a thin spray over your foundation, right? Real quick, use a aerosol can, and it just puts it contact spray because that's contact spray. Where termites, they need to eat and get into the wood, into the soil. So what the termites are eating the soil and stuff as they're traveling in the dirt. That's when it gets in their system, and then they're in their social bugs. So when they touch each other, it moves it to each other, kind of spreads like the vid, you get all sick. I heard you guys talking about the Rona earlier. It's like the Rona kill off the whole colony. That's what you're trying to accomplish. So spraying around the houses will kill ants and spiders and stuff like that. But I mean, I guess if you sprayed the actual termites, you can probably kill them. But you got to get them into the soil, and you got to
get like the queen of the colony or whatever.
You got to get those little guys to take that chemical back to the queen to kill off the nest, the whole entire, the queen and everything, because, just spraying a couple bugs on the outside, they're going to die, but they're not going to take that back to their queen.
Yeah.
Depending on what type of chemical you use. So, because there used to be two different kinds of chemicals. Nowadays, fipronil, the chemical now is a non-repellent. So they get into it and they take it back to the queen. Back in the olden days, there's some nasty chemicals. They were repellents. You put the chemical down, the termites run up to it and oh, no, sorry, turn around and run away. That was the way the old school termite treatments used to be done. Just get them, barrier around the house, protect anything from coming in. Now we want them to get into the chemical because we want them to get into the chemical, take the chemical back to their colony and kill off the colony. So that's what the new thing is.
How would you know if they're able to take that poison back to the colony? Like, doesn't that kill them instantly when they touch it?
No, it's slow acting chemical. It's slow acting. Like you said, it's like the Rona. They just get sick. They go home. They go to the concert, get 100 people, 200 people, sick, and it's over.
What a bad example, man. But it's such a good picture painter.
Oh, it is. It really is.
Oh my gosh, shoot. So should anybody be worried? Because I know that whenever we work with first-time home buyers, right, they hear the word termites or fungus and they're like, oh Lord, cancel. Like, what would be your word of advice on walking that first-time home buyer through that report and understanding that it's part of home ownership, it's part of maintenance, especially if you're buying an older home, right? Like, how would you walk a client through that?
Everything's fixable. Everything's fixable. I mean, it doesn't matter if the entire wall's eaten up by termites. If you get a good treatment on the house and you replace all of the construction, you're fine. It costs some money, like as you get the older house, but having a good inspection and making sure you're not getting into a problem, because what you're talking about, it all depends on the situation of the house. If you're going to buy 100-year-old house, not just termites, dry rot, moisture, fungus, mold, there's all kinds of things that could be living in those walls that you don't know because the house is so old. The good thing is 100 years ago, they used real wood, real 2x4s, and it's not that paper stuff that they use nowadays on those houses. So it's harder. Like, some of the older houses are probably in a lot better shape or a lot better structurally sound because of the actual wood that they used back then. And nowadays they just kind of, you've seen a 2x4. You see these new houses in Elk Grove and Roseville.
It's not even a 2x4, bro.
And then all the siding's made out of paper. It's just, so it's just different. But yeah, I would just say that anything's fixable. If you have a good inspector, and they do a good job, just explain it to you what you need to do. And then, as me and Charles always say, general maintenance is the key. Like maintaining your property, making sure it's painted every 5 to 7 years, making sure you're before the spring, you check all your windows and they're all caulked, and things that people don't think about on their home.
Yeah.
And that's why you have an inspection. That's why you have a home inspection. That's why you do a maintenance inspection. That's why you do a termite inspection, so people can come and tell you things that you might not know about, because a lot of people buying houses nowadays are all in the tech world, right? They have no idea how to swing a hammer.
Everything is monitored through a smart app. I'll find out if my home has termites through the smart app. It'll let me know. Hey, Alexa. I'll just play.
YouTube it.
Yeah, that too. YouTube for sure. Everybody's a expert now because of YouTube. So you said get a home inspection, right? So obviously you guys go out there. You also mentioned earlier you gotta actually poke these wood and all that. How do you actually find the termites though? Like, do you just wait around for that swarm to come by your eyes and be like, yep, they got it? Or like, do you have a tool that you use? Like,
well, so with here in California, you have to be a licensed state inspector. So the majority of your job as a termite inspector is going to be your eyes, your eyes, and knowing what you're looking for, what areas to look for. Not everybody's going to, because you can't poke every square inch of the house.
Yeah.
But you can see, glancing and looking at everything. And then the more you do it, the better you are at it. You see signs. You see if there's a big, the grass in the front yard right next to the house is super green in one area.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a moisture problem there. There might be an area where there's termites. So you're going to look there a little bit harder than if it's dry and brown. You're going to look there also, but they're not going to be prevalent in those areas. So just there's certain areas that you're going to look for, and nobody's perfect. I mean, as a termite inspector, if you're getting an inspection, that's why we say every year to every 2 years, because if I could do an inspection tomorrow and not see anything, and then 3 months down the road, a termite tube can come out of your windowsill. Not to say that your termite inspector missed it; it just wasn't there at that time.
Yeah.
Right. So, and knowing what you're looking for as a homeowner, you can help your inspector out too.
How would you even combat that? Like, make that argument? Because then there's going to be clients out there that say, oh no, you did a crappy job, Leo. You missed that tunnel. Like, is there any way to tell how old that tunnel is? Well,
normally you could, if it's a tunnel that's just small, if it's fresh, you can see that. If it hasn't caused any damage, you can try to wiggle your way out of it as a company and be like, oh, that's brand new. As a company, we stand behind our inspections. So if we do come out 3 months later and see something, we're going to take care of our customer. Okay. We don't come as our company, we take care of our customers. So we would help that out. I'm not going to say all companies are like that. Some companies are going to make you run through hoops to make sure they're real. But like I said, if there's no damage, if they haven't caused damage yet, it could be fresh. But if there's actual damage to the wood, they've been there longer than a year or two, like I was telling you. So you can't hide from that. So if you come out there and your customer puts his hand through the sheetrock, be like, that's probably was there. Like that didn't happen in the last year, because so there's definitely signs. That's why we're mandated by the Structural Pest Control Board. So if you ever had an issue or a problem with a company, you can always contact them, and they're kind of the regulator of our license. So they take care of you also.
So termite and pest inspectors such as yourself is different from general home inspector like Charles, to where not everybody could be a home inspector.
That's the other way around. Everybody could be a home inspector. Not everybody could be a termite inspector.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, anybody could be a home inspector, not a pest inspector. Yeah.
Correct. You have to have a lot of training. Like you got to be licensed.
What are the requirements? Do you remember from the top of your head? And how often are the renewals?
Renewals are every 3 years. It's depending on how many licenses you have. It's either 16 or 20 hours or 24, because there's actually 3 licenses. There's a branch 1 license, which is a license to fumigate a house. So you'll have fumigation companies. That's a branch 1 license. Not a whole lot of companies have that, because fumigation is very tricky. Like it's not, you're tarpon, you're using Vicane chemical, you can kill people with that stuff. So that's a branch 1 license. The branch 2 license is just your general pest control license, where your sprayer guy does pest control, and then you can sell and identify general pest control. And then there's a branch 3 license is for termites and wood destroying organisms, where you can identify or sell that service. The fourth, and there is a 4th license, right? It's an agricultural license, where you can have an ag license in a county, and you could just spray. You can't identify or sell the product, but you can spray off of somebody else's inspection. So you might have a pest control technician that comes out and does your monthly spraying. He could just be an ag guy, just the smallest license you can get, but all he can do is spray. He can't identify bugs. You can't say, hey, is that a roach? He can't say, yes, that's a German cockroach, right? He can't identify those things. So you have to have a field representative license to do that. And that's the 1, 2, and 3.
Wow. You got to renew all 4 of those every 3 years?
Yeah, so if you had all 3 of those, the ag license is before you get your field rep. So whatever field rep license you get, that takes away the ag license. So then the ag license goes away. So you have your 3 licenses. So if you have 1 license, it's 16 hours. If you have 2 licenses, it's 20 hours. And if you have 3 licenses, it's 24 hours. Okay. And then for me, like, so I'm an operator, which is you have to have an operator license to run a business. And you have to have 4 years of experience as a branch 3 technician, and 2 years of experience as a branch 2 technicians to get your operator license to be, then you have the ability to run a pest control business. So that's kind of how the hierarchy of the pest world works.
Oh man. Okay. Is the test hard?
It was a long time ago when I took it. I think I failed it like 3 or 4 times back in my 20s.
Oh shoot. So it is hard.
Yeah, no, it used to be the ag license. Used to be 10. You used to go to the county ag department. It was a 10-question test. Don't spray near lakes. Don't spray in the wind. That was for the ag license. Now that ag license is now 100 questions. So
holy moly!
So just the menial, smallest license you can get is a pretty thorough test now.
Wow, they're serious about all that chemical stuff, huh?
Oh yeah, you don't want some amateur.
It makes sense.
You don't want some amateur spray from getting stuff from Home Depot and spraying on your house.
Craigslist inspector here. I do pest inspections on the side. So if anybody, go ahead, Charles. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, with the time that we have left, why don't we take some time to explain fungus and how it grows, what it does to wood, what it turns into, the whole process for that, like the lifespan and all that kind of stuff. And why is it not okay to just, fill it up, put some caulking on it, do whatever?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What's the question?
Well, so pull up that picture, Chia, and that way. Do I have the wrong one up? Yeah, I got the wrong one up. Just kidding. Okay, this one. Okay, so this picture. I don't know why that's not working, but
it's
that picture there.
Space,
so
right?
Yeah, that's in a crawl space underneath in a bathroom, underneath the bathroom. So
here's the difference, Chia, for like with his RC car, right? So this is a picture from his RC car. So for me, if I look at this, I'm like, okay, that looks like fungus. I could maybe call it fungus on a report, but the problem is it wouldn't be accurate. So with me, I would need to be under there. I would need to poke that wood to see if it's dry rotted. If that residue is just surface fungus, which is white rot, if it could just be scraped off the top of it because it's just a little bit of moisture that caused a little bit of fungus, and then it could be treated, or if that wood actually has to be repaired. So that's, as an inspector, that's why you have to be under there, because this picture shows that there's a problem. It just doesn't explain how severe or how non-severe this problem is.
That makes sense. So if this part was repairable, Leo, you wouldn't need to replace the whole wood. Then you could just scrape it and treat it. Well, how do you guys treat it?
If it was just a surface fungus, which is white rot, and it was just eating the top layer of the wood, you just get a wire brush, you wire it all off, and then you spray it with we use a chemical called Timbor. It's like eye wash. It's what you use in eye wash, and it actually kills the actual fungus. So if that's all that is, you scrape off all the white residue, you treat it, and then that will kill off the damage, and it won't get any worse as long as the leak's fixed. This leak is coming from that bathtub. So if we can go under there and scrape it and treat it, but if that bathtub continues to leak, it's going to continuously get wet, and then it's going to continuously dry rot, and then eventually you're going to have to remove that wood because you didn't fix the problem. So there's multiple setups to fix that. That's the and then there's different episodes. Like sometimes you would be able to fix that from the sub area, remove the subfloor from the sub area, and sometimes that is underneath the tile floor in your bathroom, and you have to remove all your flooring to get that subfloor up, depending on how bad the infestation is.
So if they don't repair that or find out what's causing that white fungus, that's what starts to attract the termites, is what you're saying?
Well, first, two different things. The moisture is going to attract the termites because the wood's wet, and it's not going to attract them. They're just going to get to that, and they're going to eat it faster because it's moist. So the termites will find those areas because it's moist. So the soil will be moist, and they'll go in there. The bigger problem is, if it's not fixed, is that white rot then turns into brown rot, and then that's when you start seeing the wood falling apart, and it causes structural damage, and then that's when you have to do the repair. But like you said, you can have that those leaks, and termites cannot be in that area. It's just an area where you're going to find termites because it's just more conducive. It's a conducive condition for them to be there.
What? BMAC is saying there's no picture on the screen. You can't see it, BMAC? I could see it. You guys can see it just fine too, right, Leo?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I can see this.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. What is going on, StreamYard? Oh, he said now it's okay.
Charles keeps flipping it, so BMAC couldn't see it because Charles is flipping it picture to picture. So,
yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what he meant. Okay. Oh man, dude, I wish we had more time to go over all of this, but dude, we're already like an hour in already, and
well, we did a lot of termite stuff. So like, if we ever, I can always come back, and we can always go over some dry rot stuff to get some more questions from the audience, and kind of dive deeper into certain things. There's so much to know about pest control and termites and wood destroying organisms that people don't know, that the normal homeowner doesn't know. I know Charles goes over a lot of the home inspection stuff a lot in the last few months with you guys, but like definitely the termite side is a big deal also, and it's definitely something that needs to be addressed at every home that's purchased.
Dude, so I just thought about it, right? You got to go into crawl space and tight spots to go and poke everything. Man, I mean, you got to be super fit. You can't
I don't know about that.
To the largest.
I always said, people, I'm a big guy, right? I'm 6'5". People are like, how do you crawl under a house? It's not how tall you are, it's how thin you are. And I don't have a chest. So the people with big chests, those are the hardest problems, because your chest doesn't detract, right, or retract. So if you have a big chest, you ain't crawling under no houses. I'll tell you that right now.
Man, then you're just gonna buy a drone and do it then? Maybe they might come out with a drone for big guys to where it actually pokes.
Hey, it's only a matter of time.
Maybe we can get one of those Elon Musk robots to go under there for us.
And start
poking stuff for us.
Start poking. Like Wally, right?
That's why we hire little guys. That's why as an inspector, you hire those young guys that are 5'6", 145 pounds.
But they also got to be certified, correct?
Yes. You'd be perfect to be a termite inspector, Chia.
Sorry, man. I don't think I have room for another 100 test, bro. I'm good, man. My real estate exam was really tough enough, and now you're doing all these agriculture tests. Oh man. Screw that, dude. I'll just call you and Charles whenever I need a pest inspection done. All right, that's the deal.
Yeah, we're available
anytime. The problem too is everybody's scared of all these spider webs and everything else too. That's the thing.
Do you guys have I don't see a lot of you know what? I'm just gonna keep that thought to myself. Anyways. Okay, man. Well, dude, we might need you to come back and talk more about the dry rot section, dude. Because It's so much. I didn't even realize that, and we're already an hour in, dude.
Yeah, you got all kinds of things. You got bathrooms, you got kitchens, you got subfloors, you got attics, you got, siding, trim. There's so many different areas that you need to be looking at in your house that, when a home and I'm just going to let you know one thing that you got to tell your customers or your clients, termite inspector is going to make a little hole. Don't get mad at them because they poke a little hole. They're just showing you where the dry rot's at. They're just showing you where the dry rot's at.
I know, man. Sometimes I'll get a seller. They'll be like, Chia, where did you find these guys? I've been with them for over 5+ years. They're great. And he's poking on my house. Why is he poking on my house? Now the buyers are gonna see that hole. If there's a big hole, that means you got dry rot issues, seller. Oh man. Okay, man. Well, I'm gonna end it here. Good show, man. Appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this information. I know there's so much more. Hopefully we can get you to come back. I know that you're a busy guy, especially now that your son's getting drafted to the NBA and all that. Yeah,
NFL, not a basketball player.
Yeah,
football
NFL,
player.
NFL. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
that's how you know I'm not a football fanatic. I don't even know the acronyms right. So yeah, cool, man. We'll have you back on the show one of these days. All right, Leo. It's good, man. I'm glad that you came and you educated a lot of the Chi fans. I'm pretty sure now everybody's kind of curious as to, oh shoot, the last time I did a pest inspection was 10 years ago. So hopefully they can reach out to you and Charles, and then have you guys go out there and inspect their home if they haven't done so already. Because, dude, I've seen homes where they have subterranean termites and all of that, and it is not pretty. When you wait too long, it's going to cost you way more money than even this poison that they're going to drill into your foundation. Because tearing down walls just to get to a stud, how big is that stud? It could be your beam. It could be your foundation, So don't wait till it gets to that part. Just get an inspection done. Spend a few $100 just to get peace of mind, especially if you're buying a home for the first time. Find out. Do an inspection so that way you can use that report to negotiate with the sellers, okay? So I would say that. And man, anything I forgot, guys, before I close this out?
No, I appreciate you having me on. It was great.
Yeah, man, always, dude. It's always good to see you, especially when it's on the other end of the lens,
Definitely.
You're not so tall. I don't have to break my neck to look up to you guys, I can just look at you like this.
He's even worse, He's
I know,
taller than me.
Exactly. Shoot. Whenever I come see y'all, I gotta step like 10 feet back just to look at you eye to eye, Otherwise, it's gonna be like, oh Lord, So, all right, man, I'm gonna let you guys go. Chi fans, enjoy your evening. See you guys next time. All right, peace.